So this one was just a non-legal buck. I believe I did see it coming in from the left, so I had plenty of time to get ready and get the camera on. With this tree stand, depending on which way they come in, it's a great tree stand, but sometimes if they come in from behind you, it can be troublesome. So I might move this tree stand. I might turn this tree stand for next year, or I might not put it up at all. Or where that deer is walking, we might be planting something there to feed the deer, like either plowing that up or rototilling it before planting. This one came in from a path that I had created just so I could see to the upper road, but it kind of helped steer the deer towards me. So looking back at this deer, it was broadside. It was a medium to large sized doe. It was in my shooting lane. It was within range, and it stopped on its own. And I think it was early enough in the season that there probably wasn't going to be a buck following it, so I should have shot it, and next year I'm shooting the first two doe that I see. Now with these two, it's really funny because you'll see how small this buck is. And it might be wonky too on one side, and it's the deer that ends up breeding. And I did actually hear recently from some YouTube videos that that's often the thing that happens. And then later on I'll show you another clip with a really wonky medium to small sized deer, and it is rubbing a tree. So you see a rub, and you probably automatically picture say a 6-point or an 8-point, but it could be a really small half rack that made that rub. Time lapse of a recent moonrise. Alright, so this is the buck making the rub that I was talking about. The nice thing about this is he came in from my left. He spent a little bit of time behind that cargo camo wall that I had up there, and it was perfect timing for me to be able to move the camera, move the crossbow if I was going to be taking a shot. So he makes that rub, and we'll just check that out. In this scenario, I was hunting with the windows closed, either because it was windy or cold, or because I didn't want the deer to see me. This one came in, and by the time I saw it, it was practically on its way out, so all I was really able to do was film this one a little bit. Alright, so here we have 4 deer feeding just out of crossbow range, and I was probably only buck hunting that night. Looking back, probably should have been doe hunting. And like I said, next year I'm shooting doe early season because there's usually no bucks following them in the early season. These bucks were monkeying around well out of crossbow range, but I think they had started out a lot closer to us. Now there were 2 days that I was hunting from this spot, and at least one of the days my wife was with me, and on one of the days, obviously 2 days, we had bucks come out, and the one that came out, I thought she should have shot it, but it didn't give us much of a shot. We probably would have had to have gotten ready and tried to call it back in, but she didn't think it was big enough. And I think this was a different day, but maybe she didn't think this one was big enough either. I can't remember exactly, but good footage, good shot opportunity, and this is one that's like on the fence. Are you gonna pass it up and maybe get nothing, or pass it up and get a bigger one that year? So this is just a little cat that we see pretty often on the one trail camera, and I think he has his routes that he likes to walk, and walk them frequently, and he's going to walk nicely off of frame here. We think this deer has been sleeping underneath our hunting blind, and my dad thought it was too small to shoot. I did not, but we ended up letting it go because it just got too far away too fast.
I don't know what it wants, does it?
Alright, back to the first tree stand we started with, and I think this deer is in the next 2 clips, non-legal and small. If you have any suggestions for habitat improvement for that last tree stand that we were just looking at, please let me know in the comments. And for this tree stand that we're at now, this was definitely the hot spot this year by far. And up and to the left from this tree stand is a locust grove and kind of a sanctuary for the deer. And in the off season, I want to cut a trail through that that'll steer the deer closer to this tree stand. And you can go to my website, backyardbroadheads.com, to check out the Raven crossbow accessories that I make.